As we got closer to the end of the year and the homecoming and playoffs, Coach Apple went to Shakur. He put Shakur back in at tight end. He and his coaching staff. The offense was already on the way up, really took off after that, and that's what Shakur did for them offensively. Defensively, he was a dominant terror on the field all year long. He led a defense that we've heard about so much, and rightfully so, that helped basically smother opponents. Shakur used his strength and athleticism to take up blockers, to reap havoc along the line. He had 110 tackles, he had 4 sacks, and he had 2 safeties this season. And his statistics speak for themselves, and they're more than enough to justify this award. But as I said, this award is about more than statistics. The Lineman of the Year takes into account things that aren't measured by numbers. This award is about self-sacrifice for the greater good of the team. It's about being a team leader. It's about being a great student. Shakur was all of those things for Fort Hill during his career. He was the total package as a lineman. It is my great honor to introduce this year's recipient of the John B. Jack Gilmore Memorial Award, Shakur Trimble of Fort Hill High School.
First of all, I'd like to thank God because without him, none of this would be possible. I also want to thank all my coaches, teammates, and support staff, as well as the Dapper Dan for giving me this award. Finally, 2 special shout-outs. First to my parents and all my family who have been there for me no matter what. Second to Coach Apple and his family. The Trumbull family and Apple family will always be one. Thank you.
So unlike normally, I'm back for a second award this year. And while I'm always proud to give the Lineman of the Year award because it means so much to me and my family, I was truly honored to be asked to present this next special recognition award. Several weeks ago, Adam Stern reached out to me and asked if I wanted to present the special recognition award to Mike Carter, and I jumped at the opportunity to do so. Mike and I became friends in the fall of 1983, our first day at first grade at St. John Newman, and we've been friends ever since that day. And I have no idea where that time has gone, those 35 years, but I know that I'm very proud to be able to present this award to one of my best friends and to one of the best friends that anybody could ever have. And while this award that Mike is getting this year is recognizing the wonderful season that Mike and the CCBC Essex Knights baseball team had in 2018, that's the Community College of Baltimore County, Essex, it's important that we look at the journey that got him there. And it didn't start in Baltimore. It started here in our community. And in fact, it started with the Dapper Dan. Mike went from a Little League champion for the Dodgers to a Player of the Year for Allegany High School to a standout for Coach Steve Bazarnik at ACM that went to the World Series to a college player at Fairmont State. And that was a heck of a baseball career. But if you know Mike the way that I do and the way many of us do, see, baseball was in his blood. And so as his playing days ended, his coaching career began. And so not surprisingly, he came back to Cumberland to begin that career. And where was his first stop? It was at ACM, where he coached again and learned from the great Steve Bazarnik. And while coaching at ACM with Coach Bazarnik, he made another trip to the JUCO World Series. Life led Mike to Baltimore, but baseball always kept calling him back. And in 2010, he became the assistant coach at CCBC Essex. And in 2011, he took over as the head coach of the Knights. And he has made the Knights during those years a force to be reckoned with in Maryland JUCO, winning a Region 20 title in 2016. This past year, in 2018, Mike led his scrappy team to a second Region 20 championship in the past 3 seasons, to a NJCAA Northeast Regional Championship, and to the school's first appearance in the JUCO World Series in more than 25 years. Mike has been recognized for his masterful coaching effort this year in 2018. The Maryland State Association of Baseball Coaches named Mike the Maryland Baseball Coach of the Year. He was awarded the Maryland JUCO Coach of the Year and the American Baseball Coaches NJCAA Northeast Regional Coach of the Year. And Mike's more than just a coach. He's a physical education and health teacher in Digital Harbor High School in Baltimore City. And it's my great privilege to present Mike Carter with the Special Recognition Award as the head baseball coach of the CCBC Essex Knights. So unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, Mike and his wife, Kristen, and their 3 children weren't able to come up today. So he asked me, and I humbly accepted to accept the award on his behalf. And so Mike and I talked today, and he sent me copious notes. And so I have to make sure I report exactly what he said. He wanted me to deliver this message to all of you and to the Dapper Dan. And this is from Mike. I have been very fortunate to have received recognition based on how our team performed this past season, but this award is the one I'm the most proud of. This award hits home. I may live and work in Baltimore, but every day I'm representing this community. Cumberland is the greatest sports town in the state, a place where we measure our success by winning. What can make a coach successful is the ability to make tough decisions. I had to make one today to be with my family. Fortunately, I still have the opportunity to be heard from and appropriately thank the people that molded me into who I am today. As Matt mentioned, the Dodger team that I played on were the 1989 Dapper Dan champions, and they sat right back there. And head coach Gus Caparelli expected nothing less than winning from him. Ted Eric was his high school baseball coach, and he said that Ted Eric made me confident in myself. I was the player of the year my senior year because my coach made me feel like I was the best player on the field. This has always stayed with me, and it has showed me how a coach can make a player better. I'll never be able to say enough about Steve Bazarnik. He's an incredible coach and an even better man. I got to spend 7 years on the baseball field with him as a player and coach. During those 7 years, I learned more about life than I did about baseball, and I learned an awful lot about baseball. My mother is the greatest example of a leader I have ever had. She is the head coach of our family, not just to myself and to my sisters, but to her own siblings, who often viewed her as a mother figure. She is the most unselfish person I've ever been associated with, and I live every day trying to accomplish something to make my mother proud. My father. I looked for him in the stands at every game that I played, and I found him there each and every time. You pushed and challenged me to do great things. Your presence has always been a tremendous benefit to me and given me great comfort and strength. And lastly, but certainly not least, I need to thank my wife, Kristen. Behind every successful coach is a great and understanding spouse. None of my success happens without my wife. Her support is never absent through any of the wins or losses, and most importantly, she is a perfect mother to my 3 children. Again, thank you to the Dapper Dan for this honor and for recognizing the achievements of my team. Thank you.
Our next presentation is a very important one. This is from Kathy Groudon, the Executive Director of the Children's League, and she will be also presenting the 2018 Dapper Dan Children of the Year.
Thank you, and good evening. I know there's some young boys here that are anxious for this time of the evening to come around, and I think they're getting a little tired and anxious. But we are here tonight to honor our youth and outstanding athletes, recognizing their success and individual accomplishments, and also to recognize and to be honored by the Children's League Dapper Dan Child of the Year. In brief, the Children's League is an 85-year-old nonprofit organization. We are a 501c3. We serve children birth to 21 in Maryland, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania. We provide free orthopedic, cerebral palsy, cleft palate clinics, free speech evaluations therapy, and free physical therapy. We are not federally or state funded, and we are not insurance or income driven. We are passionate about children, and we are compassionate about their care. It is my privilege to introduce the Children's League Dapper Dan Child of the Year recipient. Not just one, but two. Twin brothers AJ and Aiden Tyler, seated in front with their parents, Jennifer and Alan, their grandmothers, grandfather, and their Aunt Chris. Also in front is their extended fan club, including their third grade teacher, Christy Athey, and some of our board of directors from the Children's League, Mr. John Athey, Mr. Jerry Robinette, Mrs. Terry McKay, and our physical therapist, Jenny Vogt. It happens not on a football, soccer, or baseball field, but on their own playing field each and every day that AJ and Aiden have proven time and time again to be true champions, and champions with grit. They are 9 years old and are in third grade at Flintstone Elementary School. Their teacher, Mrs. Athey, says, "I have taught at Flintstone Elementary School for 32 years and consider myself blessed to be part of AJ and Aiden's educational experience. When you see a group of students in the classroom, you can be assured that AJ and Aiden are in the middle of that group. Every single third grader can't wait to get the chance to sit beside each of the boys, and in particular, get excited to play with them during their favorite time of day. Recess, I can't imagine. Sometimes in life, miracles come in pairs. AJ and Aiden were two miracles instead of one for Jennifer and Alan. Twice the hugs, kisses, and fun, and twice the number challenges. And these boys also offer twice a dose of toughness, courage, and hard work. Raising a pair of growing, energetic twins, the family also contends with the boys' Duchenne muscular dystrophy, a genetic neuromuscular disorder that causes progressive muscle loss and weakness, and which was diagnosed when they were just a year old. Given a high-risk pregnancy with complications, the boys were born several months premature at Ruby Memorial Hospital in Morgantown, West Virginia. Both weighed less than 2 pounds. That's a tiny little baby. Aiden had open heart surgery at 3 days old, and he remained in the neonatal intensive care unit for 3.5 months. Aiden had the same heart surgery at 3.5 months old and was in the NICU unit for over 5 months. It was a difficult time for the Tylers, bringing one twin home while leaving the other one still in a NICU unit. It was tough traveling back and forth the many trips to Morgantown. At 18 months old, through the infant and toddler program in Allegany County, the boys were referred to the Children's League, where they are routinely followed for their Duchenne's muscular dystrophy and for scoliosis by Dr. John Tiss, the league's pediatric orthopedic surgeon from Johns Hopkins Hospital. Both boys have had surgeries, and both have worn foot and leg braces to accommodate and help with their stability and their gait. Other than their many challenges with their condition, the boys love playing ball. One likes science and the other likes reading. They are A and B students. They love watching football and wrestling and riding four-wheelers. Just because their muscles do not work like everyone else's does not stop them from being tough, courageous boys with dreams and aspirations of their own. They face the challenging days and balance them out with the good ones. And it is clear that the difficulties the twins faced are reduced because they are going through them together. Please join me in welcoming to the stage two amazing twin brothers who are courageous and hard workers, AJ and Aiden Tyler.
To make a presentation to the Children's League, here's Adam Stern.
Okay, real quick, what I'd like to do is, for everybody that didn't receive an award tonight, please stand up real quick for me. Just 10 seconds. Please stand up if you did not receive an award real quick. Please. It only take quicker you do it. At this time, I would like the award winners to please clap for the people now standing, because that's why you're here tonight. The other thing I'd like to do is I regret to tell everybody that I am now retiring as the baseball commissioner of the Dapper Dan Little League. But since I have his email, I know a gentleman that still has 2 volunteer projects left that he announced tonight. So I'd like to introduce the new Dapper Dan commissioner, Delane Fitzgerald. Thank you, Delane. Oh, yeah. All right. Back to business. So, in addition to tonight's plaques to AJ and Aiden, we also gave them the football signed by the front table as well. So that is a sentiment to them and a treasure. Gentlemen, thank you very much, and that's why we're here tonight. Thank you. Okay, tonight I would like to present the proceeds for the Dapper Dan dinner tonight will go to the league, to the Children's League, and to the Executive Director, Kathy Groudon, and to those seated at tables 1 and 2. I would like to thank everybody tonight, and I would like to thank Kathy for everything that you do for the league. Thank you.
I will not take any more time, but thank you very much, Dapper Dan, and thanks to all of you out there who support Dapper Dan and the Children's League. It's a great organization. They do so much for the community and so much for youth. So continue to support the Dapper Dan and support the Children's League. Thank you.
Please welcome back to the microphone our friend Mark Mangus. Mark?
Everyone seems to be talking about their Cumberland roots in the Dapper Dan baseball. The Cardinals, under legendary manager Bromo Ellsworth. Thank you. Next award is the very prestigious Henrietta Schwarzenbach Memorial Award. It's for civic service, and it is the highest non-athlete award that the Dapper Dan gives each year. Toys for Happiness is the recipient for 2018. Toys for Happiness started in 1981. Over the last 38 years, toys have been provided at Christmas for over 70,000 children, with the assistance of hundreds of volunteers who worked hard to make it happen. The area includes Allegany and Garrett counties, the Frankfort area in West Virginia, and up to the Hindman area in Pennsylvania. It has grown into a year-round charity with fundraising, preparation, cleanup, and updating the process of distribution to over 1,500 kids a year. Once again, there are no paid employees. It's all done with strict voluntary manpower and woman power. The 2018 recipient of the Henrietta Schwarzenbach Civic Service Award, Toys for Happiness, Chuck Kelker.
Well, I think anybody who knows anything about Toys for Happiness knows that our main purpose is to try to better the lives of the kids, albeit at Christmas time. The Dapper Dan, I think it says something special, them giving us this award, because that's their primary function also, is to better the lives of the kids of the area. As you can see from all these young athletes here, they're doing a pretty good job, along with all the coaches. There's also, a lot of people may not know this, there's a long tied relationship between some of the Dapper Dan leadership and Toys for Happiness. What Mark this on behalf of, there's about 24 full-time members that do the work year-round, and then from about the middle of November till the end of December, there's probably over 1,000 people that are involved in that area that Mark mentioned. To make it happen every year for those, we're down to about 1,500 kids. At one time, we were providing for over 2,000 almost every year. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing that our numbers are dropping. We can't figure it out for sure, but through the assistance of those 1,000 people and all, I see a lot of faces in here that have helped out. And anybody that does anything, we count in that helps Toys for Happiness. But to accept this award on behalf of those people is an honor for me, too. And I'll throw in one thing. I played for the same Red Sox that Ted did. I was a few years ahead of him. I had the fortune of playing with both of his older brothers. And Mike Burke is right. When he was little, he was a little. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Gee, Ted, I bet you didn't know it was a roast. Chuck is a classmate of mine from high school, class of 77, Bishop Walsh, and Chuck was also in my car when I wrecked it for the first time. Chuck's reaction, "Hey, bud, I think you're wrecked." True story. To conclude our evening, we have the presentation of the George W. Stevenson Nicholas A. Perlazzo Memorial Award, the Dapper Dan Top Award, and to make that presentation, no better than Mike Burke.
Thank you, Paul. No cake. Adam, are we good? If not, we can talk about Ted some more. I could talk about him all night. But at this point, let's talk about Ty. See what we want to talk about. The first time I saw Ty Johnson was in the summer of his sophomore year at Fort Hill High School, and he was working out at Greenway by himself. He was working out quietly, yet feverishly and meticulously. And really, there wasn't much to see because he was so skinny then. And on top of that, it was hard to see him anyway because he's already so fast. Little did we know he was about to get much faster. His junior football season, I saw much more of Ty Johnson. He was the area player of the year and helped Fort Hill to its first state championship in 16 years. His senior year, we saw even more of Ty. He was consensus All-State again. He was player of the year again. And he led Fort Hill to the second straight state championship in what has now become a historic run. Then we saw him receive a football scholarship to the University of Maryland. Yet there were still the so-called football pundits around here who by this time should have known better, who said he'll never play it down at Maryland. Don't bet against him, I said. Don't bet against Ty Johnson. His freshman year at College Park,